This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so all yours, Brian.
Okay. All right. So the main thing here is I'm going on vacation next week. So I just wanted to make sure that things continue to happen in the meantime because Dirk, he's finally been able to wrap a few items that have been tying him up. And so now he can concentrate more on the PR activities here. So he apologizes that he hasn't been as active just yet, but he's definitely going to need those 50-word abstracts that I've been mentioning about each one of those line projects. We already have one for the bunch of wires. We still need the others related to the CDX, to the POC, the P chiplets. There was another one in terms of, I don't have it right in front of me. One of the specs here. Let me quickly see if I can open this up.
POC, CDX, then the market report.
There's the market report, but that's not anything anyone here on the call needs to worry about.
These are the
protocol spec.
And then
link
there's
layer
the
protocol.
link layer. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that one's more iffy. Okay. Yeah.
Right. So we're only missing a couple things, but it is important that we have as much detail as possible for at least those 4 items. And like I said, we already have the BOW one. And that way, it'll be very easy for Dirk to be able to start putting together the umbrella PR, which will take into account all those different items, as well as just the general growing interest in the ODSA. It would include items related to the data from the analyst firm. That's all that has been signed off by OCP to actually secure that work. It's taken a little while, so our timeline is now even shorter than we thought. So maybe there'll be some preliminary data that we can use to be incorporated into that press release. But it's just mostly that PR is about, look, we announced this this new subgroup in March during OCP Global Summit, and here's everything that's happened in a very short window of time. And we're seeing a lot of activity and interest across the industry on what's happening here. And we're starting to see some good work coming out of the group. That's the umbrella press release. And that umbrella press release would then sort of set the tone for all the separate press releases that we're planning on having released concurrently with that. Like I said, we plan to have that issued September 26th there at Regional Summit. Most likely, if you're on Pacific time, it would go out probably the late night, the 25th, because we're planning to have a European timed release for this. But the messaging that's within that umbrella press release, we're hoping to spread into the others, so that way we're all speaking somewhat in the same voice. If anyone has any questions on this process, I mean, let me know. But I think the important, I mean, we still have some good runway time here, but I want to be able to get this umbrella PR started.
So
this is Tiffany. Could I ask a quick question? Because I think I'm on the hook for the POC. I'm on the hook for the POC press release, and then I'll work on the abstract or the 50-word abstract today. You said one is done. Perhaps you send it out. I just haven't seen it. Could you possibly just resend it as if that's like a good example of the kind of thing you want? Any information you could just send so all of our efforts continue to be in sync would be wonderfully helpful.
So you're talking about the BOW abstract we put together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I'll send it to you now.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I included that along with the social posts. The team here put together some just generic posts for each company that's participating in Regional Summit, who's presenting, to be able to have their company push something out to help promote that. We also had a post in there related to the IBM workshop. So hopefully that was useful for folks. You know, you don't have to take it word for word. If there's something you want to tune there, or There's some guidelines that are related to the company where you have to meet. Go ahead, feel free to edit. We're just trying to do our part to be able to make it easy for you folks.
Thank you. Thanks for doing that proactively. It is helpful, so thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Boppy, that's kind of all I got right now.
Yeah. So I think the one so Acronics. Hey Jawad, can you do a 50-word summary for the CDX?
Sure. Can you also share with me what BOW guys wrote so I have an idea?
Yeah, I think I wrote that. Yeah, Brian can send it out.
Yeah, I'll send it to you right now, John.
Okay, thanks.
I thought we'd circulated it. I apologize. It's just sitting there. Who's going to write the market report thing, Brian? Should we just?
Well, that I mean, the only way we can write that is being able to glean what data is there that we can that we want to message to. So that's going to be the last thing coming.
Okay. Okay. So
that would depend on input from IHS, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so
Okay.
everything we get from them, or what kind of data we can get from them in a very short amount of time, we'll have to take a look at that and see what are the significant pieces that we want to call out.
Right, and actually in one of the slides, I'm having a placeholder for quick summary of the market sizing. So I'm going to use somewhat similar data from the same survey. So that one slide I'll also share. So maybe what I'm sharing can kind of match with the PR. That way we can double click on the message.
Yep, sounds good. Yeah, one of the reasons why we want to also get this umbrella PR put together as fast as we can is that I think the longest approval cycle is really going to come from the Facebook side because they're going to include a quote in that PR. So we just need to have something reasonable to them, and I think a 4-week window. Our deadline for that would probably be, I don't know, August 26th or something.
Right. So Brian, on that, you're going to work directly with Monica, right?
Yeah, and,
Okay.
myself and Dirk. Dirk,
yep.
I want Dirk to kind of be the lead on this, but I'll be there in assistance.
Yeah. So I think that way it will go pretty fast because she's the right person.
Yep.
So the current plan is that the umbrella PR will contain quotes from Facebook and OCP, right?
Correct. And then that umbrella PR would name each one of those organizations that are involved in each one of those line item projects. But unfortunately wouldn't include quotes. And this is another reason why we wanted to have these individual PRs based on those line items to be able to give a chance for those companies to be able to expand upon the work beyond just that 50-word abstract and what it means to the industry, and be able to provide them quotes so they can at least have more visibility on this launch.
Got it. So the other news that sort of just went, Brian referred to, just kind of slipped by, is the OCP ODSA is going to commission a market survey on accelerators. We want to thank DJ, Brian, and Dirk for their efforts in getting this moving. And I think what we're hoping to do is aim for results by the Amsterdam Summit, something that we can share, at least the first stage of results.
Yeah, the preliminary results, and then I think the message there is that the complete report will be available XYZ date, and that report is going to be made publicly available, so it shouldn't be any cost to folks.
The second thing I was thinking of, Sam, is we have done a couple of surveys, Brian. Maybe we should find a way to share those surveys with the market guys as well. It just occurred to me. I missed that in all our prior conversations on this topic.
What do you
Yeah,
mean?
I don't think
market?
it'd be a problem, but I think that number is kind of low. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we already shared a little bit of those surveys
Okay.
to them when we briefed them.
Okay.
But we can provide them any kind of information that we have. But my goal is to have them go out and get their own information.
Got
Yeah.
it. Okay. Well, we can just point them to our wiki. There's a couple of surveys in there they can do with it
I
what
mean,
they
I
please.
think as we kick off the effort, we share with them what we've done thus far. Do a Q&A and kind of share with them. But I'm not sure that our survey stuff. I think it was interesting, but I'm looking for them to do a better job of surveying the industry, as opposed to our kind of, hey, if you have time, come in and fill out this form.
Yep.
Right. No, I don't want to. I'm not interested in influencing their output, but I think our surveys contain information on what we're interested in.
Right. Yeah.
In terms of the questions, not necessarily the results, but the questions
Right.
that we're
Questions
hunting for.
could be useful to review. Yep.
Yeah, I'm more interested in being, because we all of us put like a decent amount of thought over
Yep.
into what we're curious about.
Yep, that's a good point. So that for sure, Bobby. Totally in agreement.
Okay. All right. Finally, somebody agreed with one of my ideas. All right.
Blame DJ.
Seems like we're just you have to explain it, like, but there's an original hostility though, so we got to work through that. So.
I haven't had my morning coffee, so I'm in no position to respond back. So you can pile on me.
You're in 4-bit mode. Okay. So this will be publicly available. The results of the survey will be publicly available. I think this is a very exciting thing. I'm really happy DJ originated the idea and pushed it.
Yeah, this is gonna be good.
Then anything else on the? Oh yes, on the Amsterdam prep. If you have a session, everybody please remember that we're going to do the final slides. Do a final slides review on 8/23. I set up a meeting invited everyone who has a talk. Please, I think it's DJ, Sam's here. Sam, we haven't really pulled the panel together. And Quinn and Jawad, please make the time for that session. I will be off the week after, so we really have to get our final slides in by that session.
Okay, when do we? So the final slides need to be when?
No, so in theory we can keep tinkering with the slides until the talk and then upload a final version. But I really on 8/23.
You want to do a review on the 23rd?
Yeah, I want all our messages to be coordinated so that it looks like one session.
Okay. I was going to be out on that day though. Did you have a time that you wanted to do that? When you want to do that this time or just sometime during the 23rd?
I think I scheduled a meeting and hopefully I invited you. Let me just check. But I scheduled something at 9 a.m. immediately after this call.
Okay. Yeah, that might work for me.
Yeah, I was going to do it in this call, and then Mark had the helpful point that once people attend the session, they don't need to attend the actual session.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see. Okay. Thanks. I may need to go first on my stuff just to wrap up quickly, but we'll make it work.
Then I'm on the hook to organize a panel on open design in silicon, not just necessarily open chiplets and interfaces, but open design. So if by any chance you have thoughts on good speakers for the panel, please send them my way. Basically, the ODSA components in the Amsterdam session are one, a session overview that I do, an ODSA half-day session, and an open design panel. So I'm off trying to identify a good theme and recruiting speakers for that panel. If you have ideas, please please send them my way.
That's for the summit or a different event?
At the summit.
At the summit, okay.
So I'm looking for any. I think what I'm sort of trending towards is assembling a panel with vertically with all components of the parts of building a device from the fab through manufacturing design and manufacturing design and test, etc., and saying what needs to be open and how do you get to it. I still don't have it clearly formed in my head, but that's what I'm heading towards.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else, Brian?
No.
Oh, we lost Bill Chen. That's unfortunate. Oh, shoot. Okay.
So I'm okay.
All
I'm
right.
just listening.
Oh, you're here. Okay, good. Because I was going to. I need. So then the next item on the agenda. Let me just do one quick. Does anybody? So the other three items on my agenda were the going back to the 9/12 workshop and DJ's question last week on the POC budget. Jawad had an old spreadsheet which I looked over, and it's actually reasonably current. The kind of shocking thing is we're making progress roughly the way we thought we would. So those are the two items on my agenda. Does anybody else have anything else? Okay. So the agenda, this is still the agenda on this. I think the only part, OCP intro. I think we're going to do either an OCP intro or a close, like to the workshop. I marked them out as an OCP intro. Right. We're likely going to start the. Hey, Brian, we said 8:30, right?
Yes. 8:30 to 9:30, where it starts at 9:30 now.
Yeah. 9 or 9:30? 9:30.
No.
Okay.
9:30.
Starts at 9:30. Starts at 9. We're starting a little late because it's well south, and so we're giving everybody a little bit of extra time to get there, and we're also going to do a little bit of a late lunch. IBM is going to do. IBM will have about 100 minutes, 1.5 hours. $90 minutes plus a 15-minute exec talk. Bill, you had some
Yes.
thoughts, and then I think I even received an email from Lee Hong saying they're interested. I'm assuming he's coordinating with you in some fashion.
Yeah, I talked to Elko. So Elko is going to either he will talk or Calvin Chung will talk. No, for the HRR, I will be speaking. For
Okay.
ASC,
Okay.
Elko. Yep.
Okay. And
I think they're interested.
Please go ahead, Bill. I apologize.
I think both myself and Calvin has registered already.
Oh, right. That's an important thing. If you're going to attend, we're already at 50. I don't know what the latest registration count is, but we're already at like 50 plus in a workshop with about 120 slots. So if you please attend, please register if you'd like to attend.
And for your panel, I have recruited a person on test.
Okay.
This person on test is it's going to be a person from the test chapter in the roadmap.
Okay.
So one thing that that often happens when you have these face-to-face meetings. We end up taking kind of all of the agenda meeting together. Have you thought about trying to do some breakouts, like with the various work groups, like the protocol group or the POC group, just having a separate face-to-face meeting? Maybe you have like a kind of a combined agenda, then breakout. And I'm not saying that we do it this time, but like in future, then break out into
Yeah,
some
that's a good idea.
separate
It,
face-to-faces and then reporting. Because a lot of times we get a lot of folks, we work on the calls, but then if we could just have a time to do that face-to-face every couple of months, facilitates the communication.
right. Okay. It's a good point. Logistics are harder unless we sort of all make noise in the same room. That's the main
Right. The
challenge.
biggest challenge is you got to have the venue that could have support breakout rooms.
Yeah. Okay, let me mark that down as a nice to have. Or what we can do is we can just have the equivalent of a breakout session, but just occupy about 30 minutes or 45 minutes of the main stage. And whoever doesn't want to listen goes back to their email.
Mm-hmm.
Worst case. If the idea is useful and important, we can just do a breakout session. Club it with the project updates,
Right.
right? Just make it much more informal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We still have to do I think we have room for 2 of these panels, not 3. I've got to figure that out. But that's where the agenda is. Anybody have any other thoughts? Any topics that you'd like to see?
So for the panel, how many panelists are there?
Well, right now, Zip, you recruited our very first panelist, Bill. Thank you. But I'm still trying to figure out. But I don't think we have room on the agenda for all 3 panels. We have room for 2 panels, and the trick question is it going to be one an open design, sort of a rehearsal for Amsterdam and test engineering, or packaging and test? I think I'm going to see if we can find some way to make up our minds in this coming week.
So I can help you with the packaging and test panel. I think that would be an area that I'm familiar with.
Okay. Yeah, and does people on the bridge, any thoughts? Which ones should we do? Packaging and test, or should we do open design and combine packaging and test into one panel?
I would do that. Combine packaging and test. Yeah, that's what I would do. I think you kind of got try to put those together and then have your open design be a separate topic.
Okay,
It's an
maybe
interesting
I should.
topic. I'm trying to wrap my head around what it really means. But
That's what I'm struggling with, but it maybe maybe to do this, do a dry run with a good set of speakers in September to mid-September to prep for the Amsterdam session. That might work.
Yeah.
So, Bobby, I have a question
Yes, sir.
on this open design topic. So, I think it has to be somehow connected with accelerators, right?
Okay.
So, one big question is, hey, make a single chip ASIC in 3 nanometer or 7 nanometer versus how do you partition the design with different accelerators? What are the challenges of in the world of software associated with that? What are the benefits, right? What are the opportunities for people to maybe design these accelerators from architectural point of view? And that's kind of what I want to know.
Okay, good point. So basically, rather than having a very broad open design topic, zoom in on accelerators.
Open accelerator.
Okay. Okay. That is a very nice idea. Okay. That might help in narrowing the people to identify as well. Any other thoughts? Okay. Let's see. So any other thoughts on the agenda? Any other topics we should be covering? So Ramin, for those of you who are interested, Hot Interconnect is next week, and Greg Taylor, who's not on the call, and Ramin, who's here, they'll each be doing a paper, one on the file layer analysis and one on the bunch of wires at Hot Interconnect next week at Intel. So if you need a reason to attend the conference, this might be it. Ramin, I'm assuming. So anybody see any issues doing updates at the conference on each of these topics?
Sorry, Bob,
How
I didn't
long
get
is
your
it have?
question.
No, so I just want to confirm that everybody. So here, the names I have here are Mark, Quinn, JP, the usual suspects. So I want to confirm that nobody has any challenges in doing like a brief 15 or 20-minute update or leading an open discussion on any of these topics.
This is for the IBM.
Yeah, this is for 912.
Yeah, I mean, we need to talk because with regards to updates, we have the interconnect next week, and then hot interconnect, and then we have IBM, and we have the Amsterdam. So we're gonna make sure we have enough material that are somewhat new for each of them.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we can provide updates, but then it will dilute the next session or next presentation.
But I'm also reasonably confident that the audiences are non-overlapping in the sense that I still think we're still in the phase of gathering reasonably new audiences for each.
Okay.
That's my, when I look at the sort of list of attendees for each, Amsterdam is full of sort of new guys from new heads from Europe. We may have some repeat attendees from our third workshop, and HODA is completely new. Like most of the people at the Hot Interconnect.
That makes things easier.
Okay. So please look at this. If you have any issues, please speak up now, because I'm going to be forming an agenda based on the assumption that you can do this. DJ or Kevin's not traveling, but you don't remember what the second topic, right? I got to look through my notes. I just have it as second topic. I just don't remember what it was, but it was very interesting. Is all I remember.
Was it discussed in the last Friday call, Bapi?
No, it wasn't. I've been sitting on it as a second topic, and I've been racking my brain trying to remember what it was. But
yeah, it might be maybe coming. It might have come out of the POC call, which some of them I think Kevin is attending, and I am kind of hit and miss. I am not very punctual in all of them, so maybe that's the.
Okay. All right. All right. So this is good. So then the last topic comes to your question last week, DJ, about the budget. Hey, Jawad. I'm going to open a spreadsheet you generated about a month ago.
Sure.
I was looking through it and it's still reasonably valid. I mean, it's not too far off. Um, we're sort of we've begun the schematics phase. I know for us has begun this. Roughly, this was the updated design section in June. I think we slipped from our March goals into June. And then coming to the budget part directly, I think what we were looking for is manufacturing support. Where I'm trying to figure out is somewhere you also had a detail on 300,000, right?
Yeah, so there are a bunch of rows and columns that are hidden. So
Okay, hang on.
if you unhide those rows and columns, you will see.
Wait.
But I can roughly tell you. So the budget for the PCB manufacturing, we had kind of ballpark about 60 grand, and there was about 100 some grand for SLT and some of that test development for the package, and the rest was for the actual package development.
Yeah, I'm really sorry, but how do I unhide these things?
Right click on the side panel where it says no, where it has the row numbers.
Okay.
So see,
Got it. Okay.
okay, and now see if you go to the right, and you see 60,000 for base for the board manufacturing, and about 80,000 for the substrate design and fab and all of that. And then some for package assembly and some for system level test development. Because once we put this thing into a package, the actual bring up is significant effort, and a lot of that will be outsourced. Now, these were ballpark numbers. I think our PCB estimate is a little bit lower given the new information that we have, that we need 14 layers, 14 layer stack up. So I think within a week or two, once people get to the board stack up, they will be able to get actual estimates for the manufacturing of those boards. So the number might go up a little bit. And we hadn't really estimated for any other hardware past that.
So I think we had said this as 5 components, right? 3 daughter cards and 1 baseboard.
Yeah, 4 components.
4 components. We pegged it around 20K each.
Yes.
And hey, is Brian still online, or did we lose him?
You lost me.
Okay. Hey, I know what I wanted to talk to you about. So, um, um, Kevin and Josh from Facebook are making a mechanical mock-up. And the thing I wanted your advisor, Sujal's advisor, was on how we could use the mock-up in some fashion, either in build stock or in some fashion at Amsterdam. That's the thing I wanted to discuss with you guys at some point.
Okay. All right. Good to know.
They're making a mechanical mock-up of the baseboard, and I don't think of any daughter card, just the baseboard, right? We need some advice on how to use it at Amsterdam.
Okay, we can talk offline.
Excuse me. Yeah. So DJ, this is roughly the hard cash we need to raise somewhere.
How many boards are we intending to make?
I
I think,
think we said a handful.
yeah, we
We
would
don't.
put 10.
That I mean, you kind of need to be able to do the math to say, okay, how much per board? So 10, that sounds like a good number.
Yeah, but we hadn't broken it down into sort of base cost and per unit cost.
Hmm.
So maybe that it's worth now that we know what it is, it's worth breaking that number down.
Right.
Okay. Hey, and Sam had this point that maybe we want to manufacture everything at one place, right?
It might help. I mean, well, that then for a lot of like the like the connectors are the same across all of the devices and everything, so you're likely to get a better economy of scale on it to build them. Like for example, all of the you could lay out all of the daughter boards, all the modules, and then cut them out of a single larger board and things. So, or yeah, I don't know. We'd have to look at it, but it seems like it'd be easier.
Anybody know a board vendor who might be interested in pitching in on an OCP project?
We asked.
Pitching in,
Mm.
yeah.
Um,
We
okay,
have
so
board vendors we work with. I'm sure everybody else does. We just need to probably have a separate make a list and identify who would engage them, and those are we can that's a money problem though. I don't know that you're looking at someone doing it for free, but if he's going to make these things, it's going to cost some money. So
yeah, maybe somebody can cut us some slack on labor costs or something and just do materials or something.
well, it's just I mean we'll get a handful, 3 or 4 companies to bid on it and see if they want to see who provides the best bid and see if we can convince them that it's in their interest to participate in this effort
Right.
at a discount.
So we also DJ or anybody else actually. DJ brought this topic up, so I'm picking. Who do we have? What else do we need to do? Do we need to make a deck? You guys think, or what do we do to get the story together? Make a deck, deliverables, and say this is what you get if you participate in the project.
Yeah, I think the intent is at least for providing some incentive for people who are contributing some dollars. I think we can have a deck, or we can just have a simple 1-pager or 2-pager document which says you get early access to the samples. You can, keep samples for X period of time for testing. You can, get early visibility into how the POC is coming along. We will proactively inform one of your contacts, which you assign on the development. We'll be sending you the meeting minutes. I think we can have some simple commits so that when people are giving money, they feel, okay, I'm getting something in the return.
Yeah. Okay. Who do you think we can approach? Should we approach service providers? Just a regular, the usual suspects of you guys and Google and Facebook. Excuse me, and Amazon and Microsoft.
Yeah, I
Or
think we should definitely do those companies. So, Papi, do you have a rough idea of how much is the budget you're thinking right now?
yeah. So that was this. Roughly, we were thinking the 360 was the cash contribution. Although this adds up to 240. There's another 120 somewhere. the cash need for manufacturing. Hey,
Is 300?
yeah, but Jawad, this adds up to 240. The 60 is coming in from somewhere else. Do you
Yeah,
remember where? Yeah, but roughly 300.
yeah. So this particular sheet, just keep in mind that, this is a couple months old,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
this does include high-level ballpark numbers for package as well as the board level POC software development vehicle, right? It's a ballpark number. I mean, it needs to go to next level.
Okay. So
Yeah.
maybe in this next week's design. So let's aim for tentatively either next week or the week after to generate a maybe. Okay, let me ask you what other information should we add to the budget other than just detail and accuracy? Is there anything in this budget sheet that, at first glance, um, does anybody see anything we really need to look for? Additional detail?
What's I guess this will get us hardware, but software firmware, I mean, application software.
Yeah.
I got a big concern about how do
No, no,
you,
you
you
got
get the
you got
board
a
and then
legitimate
how do you
concern.
really make it work?
Well, there are two things, three things I have in mind. We're reasonably optimistic that there's a whole bunch of existing software that can be reused. The second thing is, I think Manish is off hunting for potential software partners. He's not online today, but he is off hunting for software partners. And the third thing is, Netronome has this large university community that's actually gotten pretty good at developing fairly sophisticated software, and I think we can. I'm optimistic that we can point at least a subset of them to this board.
Okay.
Those are my three sort of.
Okay. I know some folks in, I guess it's one of the cloud scale guys, I'll say, that's been doing research on, the computational storage piece that could be interested in this platform. But you kind of have to have a baseline of functionality, right? Libraries and frameworks in place to build on.
So yeah, Netronome has a couple of options on which to program the data path, either P4 or eBPF. I think P4 has easier to use tools. P4 is sort of more integrated with the host.
Okay.
And then you guys, I'm assuming that's just a regular GCC stuff for the RISC CPU.
Yeah. I mean, we'll have what we call our SDK. It's really an Ubuntu style framework for software development. We connect to these other devices as PCI devices, and then they'd load drivers and all of that. We could do DBDK on our products. The P4 stuff would be interesting to integrate and kind of tie together, right? The kind of control plane, data plane, tie that together. And then we need to do the same thing with, I guess, with the FPGA. But so that framework development, I think we need to scope it out, and that ends up being kind of a multi-company effort to make sure that everything works, and then we have something that can be loaded onto the board easily and updated easily to support that. So there's obviously at a framework level, there's software resources that we need to identify in the companies and figure out how they'll work together. And then, then there'll be some level of support at the application level, because we wouldn't develop, we don't have the expertise to really develop the final applications of, like you said, computational storage or like a data center offload NIC or security offload application, those kinds of things. We would expect that there's another layer of application software that takes advantage of the control plane, data plane, and makes a demonstration vehicle out of it.
Right. My expectation is that each of the companies involved will have to be ready to support an end user more than actually. That's the biggest ask.
Yeah,
That
that maybe we should be, I think the research community is a good place. There might be one or two companies, research, university research and corporate research might be wanting to look is, if you said you've got you've already got a community, we might want to look and say, hey, start to promote this. Because, I know some folks who I could say, hey, I got this board coming, could be quite interesting. To you in the work you're doing, and just kind of develop a list of target users for the dozen boards that we build.
okay. So maybe then this thing becomes important. Is Quinn online still? Do we still have him?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. Do you want to take a shot at this? Or either Deck, you and Jawad, they want to take a shot at this, and they use that as a mechanism to round up both research support and cash contributions. Are you able to?
I'm definitely happy to help. Yes.
I'm hoping between you guys you can drive it. Otherwise, there's a bunch of stuff. Normally I'd be happy to do it, but there's just a bunch of short-term stuff I'm on the hook for. Can you guys drive it and produce something, and then we can use one of our last decks as a starting point.
So how much? What do you actually want in here? I mean, I guess how much of this do you want to review or rehash the POC versus just focusing on the ask and the?
Well, so here's my take, and anybody else, please. We need a summary of the POC and the potential applications we see, and then we need like two extra slides, as it were. One for the developer community saying, if you want to talk to us now, you get early access, and one for the funding community saying these are the gives and gets if you donate some cash for this effort. So something that compresses the POC into 3 to 5 slides, which says what we're building, what we see as a potential application, what the pieces are, and the software infrastructure that will be available with it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Take a first pass at that. Yes.
Thank you. That is very nice of you. Okay, so we'll aim to maybe before in the week of the aim to have something ready by the meeting of the 23rd. DJ, will that work? That if we have that, I think we can go after. And Sam, that'll work for the research guys too, right? We can take the same. I think I'm just going to say a deck. We should be able to take both to.
Yeah.
And I can socialize it in the open an FT group and say that we're building this. Anybody interested?
Right.
DJ, does
Yeah.
that sound like a reasonable thing?
Yeah, I think it should work.
Okay. Perfect. Quinn, thank you. Jawad, if you wouldn't mind, we're giving Quinn or working with Quinn, that'll be great, and I'll help in as well.
Sure, will do.
I think that's it. Any other thoughts? Any other opens? If not, then thank you all for your time. I will send these notes out, and I will talk to you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.